Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. Had to come on and do this video because, for the longest while, boxing fans, I've been asking myself the question, why has OLEKSANDR USYK's performances looked so lackluster? As if something's missing. A highly talented, skilled cruiserweight champion of the world. The guy has undoubtedly got skill, undisputed former cruiserweight champion of the world. But of recent times, for whatever reason, OLEKSANDR USYK is not performing in a way you would expect of a guy, Olympic gold medalist. He just seems to have, for me, stagnated. Very much similar to how you see Joseph Parker on these lackluster performances. And we really keep going back to what they did earlier in their career, where he's an undisputed cruiserweight champion. Will he beat Joe JOYCE in the amateurs? Blah, blah, blah. He's put on good performances. Even the Tony Bellew performance I go back to, he's been outboxed until Bellew shot his load, and then Usyk was able to get on top and knock him out. Then we had the Chaz Witherspoon fight. Now we've had the Derek Chisora fight. Again, just not looked spectacular. Just got the job done. Workmanlike, squeak pass, not bad, okay, average, okay. Nothing to jump up and down about. Nothing for the big heavyweights to be saying, wow, this guy's a real threat. After the masterclass performance he put on to become the WBO champion, with all that footwork and making Glowacki basically look as if he was fighting 4 or 5 different men, we now have this Usyk now, heavyweight, who's more prepared to fight with his face and take punches, which in the heavyweight division is a real danger. And I've been saying and banging on about Joseph Parker, and I'm going to bang on and bang on about OLEKSANDR USYK. There's something not right for me in his training, the way he's set up, and the way he goes about his business. I've been saying it for a while, but now there's more evidence as to why we may just be seeing. Let me just shut my camera off just for a second and show you something, if you haven't already seen it. Let me shut this off here and then bring this up for you, because this is when I call about absolute buffoonery. This is it. Let me bring it up for you. Absolute nonsense. This nonsense right here. Now, I know boxing fans that are going to be jumping up and down and going, wow, Usyk was sparring 2 guys. What, have you looked at the guy on the guy closest to us on the camera? Have you had a good look at this guy? This guy he looks about 14 or 15 years old. And I guess maybe he's a light welterweight, even a super featherweight. You go far to say he's a featherweight. And these 2 guys, if you look at them on the video, they can't box. Or if they can box, they don't box very well. Now, you're about to fight the juggernaut, JOYCE. A juggernaut of a man. Knockout power in either hand. Great stamina. Can do 12 rounds and just keeps coming and coming and coming at you. Yes, there's been criticism of JOYCE. Oh, he's slow. All right? But we all jump up about George Foreman, but you all don't want to see JOYCE. And I keep banging on about JOYCE and calling him the British George Foreman. And people go back and say, oh, well, OLEKSANDR USYK beat him in the amateurs. The OLEKSANDR USYK that beat him in the amateurs is not the OLEKSANDR USYK that's fighting in the pros. First of all, that was a, 3, 4 round, 5 round, whatever. I don't even watch it no more. It was an amateur bout. If anybody wants to go on about amateur fights and what people did in amateurs, why do people talk about Henry Tillman? Henry Tillman beat Mike Tyson in the amateurs. Go back and watch what happened in the pro game. If you look at, I keep talking about form, I keep talking about consistency, and I keep talking about results. OLEKSANDR USYK's results coming into the heavyweight division have been poor. JOYCE has just come off a career-defining fight against Daniel Dubois, a fight that I thought that he was fighting a boy. a fight that I thought that Dubois was being rushed into, a fight that I said that Dubois had fought nobody to be in the way with Joe Joyce. And basically, Danny Dubois was fighting for his life with everything he had. I was left out to dry. He was left out to dry because he wasn't equipped to do the job to beat Joe Joyce. He wasn't mature physically or mentally or emotionally. He wasn't equipped to deal with what Joe Joyce was going to bring. Okay, you throw your best shot. Now what happens? What's the plan B? You're so used to knocking guys out and seeing guys fall over. What's the plan B? What happens when the guy starts hitting you back with a jab and starts taking your best shots and starts throwing punches back at you? What do you do then, Daniel? What's the game plan then? No game plan. Let's go back to this guy, OLEKSANDR USYK. Now he's sparring two guys here, or he's got two guys here who they have not got the ability to cause any real hurt on Usyk. And what Usyk is doing sparring with two guys here, when Joe Joyce hits him, he's going to think he's 10 guys hitting him. If Usyk is talking, sitting down and telling people that when Derek Chisora hit him on the chin, the lights went out in the second round. If that's the case there, let me take this picture off. It's just, I just can't stand looking at it. If that's the case there, right? If that's the case with OLEKSANDR USYK, the fact that he's getting hit and he's getting hurt by Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora. Do you understand? And Derek Chisora is no fast guy. And people say, well, Usyk's quick. He's not that fast. He's not that fast. As a heavyweight, he's not that quick. And he's going to need all that footwork against Joe Joyce. But I ask you the question. I ask boxing fans this question. Okay, he makes Joe miss. He makes him pay over 3, 4, 5 rounds. And Joe starts blasting to the body, blasting to the body, blasting to the body. Usyk starts to slow up. He can't hurt Joe Joyce. And we're going down the stretch. Rounds 9, 10, 11, 12. And Joyce is still there. And he keeps coming. What is Usyk going to do? What game plan has Usyk got? Who's going to give him something different? This buffoonery of him having two guys, and it's complete buffoonery. I'm sorry. I cannot accept for 1 second that this boxing fans can tell me, oh, yeah, I can see how this is going to help him fight Joe Joyce. How? Wait. How do these guys resemble? See, as a coach, you prepare the way you're going to fight. You prepare for the opponent you're going to face. So you want to be facing big, strong guys. Big, strong guys who can take a shot and can deliver heavy punches and have got to work, who can put out the work. You know what I mean? Maybe fighting cruiserweights, I'd get that. If you were sparring two cruiserweights, yeah, I'd get that. Two genuine cruiserweights that could punch the lights out of you, I'd get that. I'd get you having to move your feet. But the way you go out and sparring in boxing, for those who don't know, there's a simple way around that. If you want to work on your footwork, what you basically do is that you get you spar guys that tire you out, right? You work against guys who are going to put that work on you. And then when you're tired, then you get a guy who's like a heavyweight, who's a big puncher. And then when you're getting tired, then the trainer will bring in a guy who can punch hard, who's got good footwork and can hurt you. And the trainer will put you in there. And then you have to let you use your feet. And that's how it works. That is far more effective in terms of strategy and game plan. That is more effective for Usyk than to actually be sparring two anorexics or two guys that really, do you know what I mean? That's just nonsensical. Who were two guys who were sparring? And what could they do to OLEKSANDR USYK, who's now a heavyweight? What was he doing? I mean, he's playing games. At one point, he's doing this. I mean, that to me is a waste of time. When you actually use that time to improve your skill set, that's not improving your skill set. I'm sorry. And if anyone can come in and say to me, that was improving his skill set, then it's not on. Call me old school. Call me an old school fogey. But would you ever see someone like Lennox Lewis doing that kind of nonsense? Mike Tyson preparing Evander Holyfield, Muhammad Ali doing stuff like that. Come on. And he would fight guys like George Foreman and Sonny Liston. Would you ever see Ali doing that nonsense? So there's some things that are gimmick and it looks good. Like when Ali went underwater and he was throwing punches and he said he did that as a gimmick and other guys have gone and done it afterwards. Mayweather, he does the pad work and all that stuff. A lot of this gimmicky stuff that he won't tell you it's a gimmick because that's his That's his way to keep you. Mayweather was brilliant at making you believe certain things, like, oh, I don't study my opponents. Oh yeah, and before the fight, I'm going to McDonald's, I'm going to eat, and I'm going to do this and that. He just throws it at you. And Muhammad Ali made a really powerful statement. He said, champion liars, champion fighters, or champion fighters, champion liars. But basically said that not everything that I'm going to tell you is the absolute truth. But what I'm going to tell you is for you to believe. This thing with Alexander Usyk is absolutely. Look, it's not like to say Alexander Usyk's performances have been outstanding, and then he's doing that stuff. I've got, okay, all right. So your performances have been really outstanding, and you're doing that. That's how you do it. No, but your performances have been garbage, and you're doing that. And fans who don't know look at that stuff and go, wow. I'm looking at going, what is this guy doing? A guy with such talent, with such ability. He's going to fight Joe Joyce. And people are still on this Joe Joyce is slow. Okay, keep believing that. But I've not seen a fight yet where Joe Joyce has looked so slow that the opponent's got away with his punches and got out of the way. But we'll see. Come the fight of, I hope that Usyk and his team are not dining out on that fight they had how many ever years ago. I really hope they're not, because if they're foolish enough, and the people are foolish enough to believe that around him, then it's bad news for Alexander Usyk. And remember, if he's still with the same team that Usyk on the night of the fight against Chisora only knew the size of the ring when he was on his way to the ring, if that's the sort of team that Usyk is dealing with, has got, it's not good. It's not good. And in heavyweight boxing or any form of boxing, when you're going to get to the elite level, and this is going to be the best guy Usyk's fought as a pro in the heavyweight division. Mistakes. Stuff you may have got slide by and got past because you were fighting guys that were at a lower level. When you're now fighting guys at the highest level, you can't make them mistakes. You can't make the mistake, particularly against a guy like Joe Joyce, who, when he gets you hurt, he won't let you off the hook. Thank you very much. Yes, good morning, Lakvinda. How are we doing, Mr. Boxing today? So, you know, there are gimmicks, and I get gimmicks, and Usyk's a character, but this stuff here is taking boxing fans, real boxing fans, for a joke. It really is. And his performances don't warrant that. I'm sorry. Maybe if this is the channel where you want me to applaud buffoonery, then fine. Let's see what's going here. It says here, I've seen that drill in the gym. Rob Brandt and Jamal James will do the same drill with some of the youngsters. Yeah, I get that. I'm not saying that it's not a drill that is useful and has its point and place. But Alexander Usyk's performances have not been to the standard they should be for a guy that's former undisputed cruiserweight champion. And then we're talking about levels here. We talk about Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, Muhammad Ali. You wouldn't see these cats doing that stuff. And you could say, well, maybe I'm old-fashioned. But no. Absolutely no. No, I'm sorry. Maybe, Mr. Boxing today, I am old-fashioned. And forgive me for being old-fashioned. But that stuff, my man needs to work seriously on his foot. I mean, if he had done that exercise, okay, if he had done that exercise and he was doing it against guys who genuinely could box and genuinely was going to try and hurt Usyk, right? And they you know, there was some physicality about them, I'd understand it. That would make sense. But you're fighting a guy like Joe Joyce, who is very physical. Very physical. You know, very physical. And it's just not good. It's not good. It's not a good look. It's just not a good look. How are we doing, Andre? Hope that you're good. I reckon it was a sparring session before going. I mean, you wanted to have some fun with a few amateurs. I hope so. I hope that excuse that you're giving isn't actually isn't actually serious. Usyk hasn't looked impressive in anything. It's just what I'm saying. But, you know, you're trolling. But you're not in a position to troll. He's not in a position to troll. If he was putting on spectacular performances, yeah, then I get the trolling. But it's pure buffoonery from a guy who's not even performing. So Usyk was trolling, mate. Nothing serious. Well, I hope not. I hope it's nothing serious. But if you go back to the things Usyk's been saying about going to the ring and not even knowing how big the ring was before he got to the ring, that tells me things ain't right. I mean, I'm hearing stuff in his camp from people who, in the Ukraine, which ain't cool, which really ain't cool, you know. But I'm gonna get more information on it. Usyk Joyce is a tough one to call. I favour Joyce. I'm Joyce. I'm Joyce by late stoppage and knockout. I don't think he's winning on points. I think he's really gonna hurt Usyk in this fight. I really think he's gonna hurt him. I think Usyk's gonna he'll have to run in this fight because now he's in with a guy who's physically imposing. So Usyk's gonna have to find a way. So there's only so much of that movement you can do. There's only so much of that movement. Eventually, he's gonna have to stand and trade. And you look at his movement since he's become a heavyweight. In fact, since he's left Bashir, and I'm not doing this because I'm a Bashir fan. Look at his footwork. Look at his movement. And fight after fight after fight, Usyk is taking more and more punches. And people say, well, it's the level of opposition. It's getting better. Okay, so then you're going to tell me that Tony Bellew is a better fighter than Marius Briedis. I don't think so. I don't think so. So you're going to tell me Derek Chisora is a better fighter than Marius Briedis. Is that what you're going to try and tell me? Limited Derek Chisora with 10 losses or 9 losses. Really? And the Usyk fans will say, oh, he was going to blow Chisora away. I don't understand the logic. This guy just hasn't been good. Oh, he's just saving it. He's just saving it for the Joyce fight. Really? I can see why Joyce is licking his lips. You just know Bashir would have shook his head at that video. Not only Bashir, many trainers would have shook their head at that. I mean, could you imagine putting that video towards someone like Manuel Stewart? Could you imagine putting that video towards Customado? I mean, really? I knew people would mention the speed difference, but Joyce has great timing and very thudding jab. Exactly. Belly duck Briedis, yeah. But listen, if I were a manager, if I were a boxing manager, that's the first guy I would have. I would sign Briedis and say, you see you? We're going to take our march to the heavyweight championship of the world. You see you? You can become a heavyweight champion, or you've got speed, you've got power, you've got a good chin, you can box. Listen, this guy, Briedis, could be heavyweight champion of the world. Guided the right way. He's already knocked out one former heavyweight champion, which is Manuel Shah, in style. And that Manuel Shah, let's remind you, was trained by Lennox Lewis. Unlike the WSOB fights, Joyce will have 12 professional rounds to stalk and walk down Usyk. And that's what I keep telling boxing fans. I keep going back to that WSOB. And I keep telling them, if they want to keep talking about amateur fights and pro rematches, just tell them, look at Henry Tillman against Mike Tyson, and then tell them to see what happened in the pro game. Chisora is basically a heavyweight Austin Trout or Gabe Rosado. Possibly. Yeah, imagine putting that in front of Angelo Dundee, and that is the reason. Eddie Futch. Imagine bring that buffoonery to Eddie Futch. And that is the level. When I'm looking at boxing, I'm looking at training, I'm looking at what guys do. I look at those guys because they produce champions. And and forgive me for that, but the influence I've had, the people I've talked to and not spoken to on camera, but talked to outside and off camera, and being around those type of people and the sort of information that constantly goes through your head. And then you watch that stuff, you can't help but think, what the hell? What the hell? It's like when I sat down and watched that video of the guy who was on camera and he was getting hit on the chin. All these guys have been lined up. It's on a YouTube video. All these guys have been lined up against the wall and being punched on the chin to see if they can take a shot to prepare their chin. What? The best chin in boxing is one that just don't get hit. Period. So improve your defense. You could do all the shoulder roll and the neck roll all you want, but at the end of the day, don't get hit on the chin. Easier said than done, but defense is key. You'd be best advised better to work on your defense than sitting down going back on the pads, because nobody's going to stand there and let you hit you with them combinations. Oh, unless you're David Benavides and your name's Porky. That's a little different. That was a beautiful combination you put up to knock him out, by the way. Beautiful combination. Lovely combination. In fact, I can't remember last time I saw somebody's head snap like that with 3-4 punches in a row. Bam, 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 bam. Beautiful. I was just watching it again on YouTube. But coming back to this Usyk thing, I just think there's too much of this buffoonery in boxing. Too much of it. Too many guys calling guys out whose performances have just been lackluster. Spent more time calling out and less time actually putting on good performances. I hope and I pray that Usyk, he needs to make changes in his camp. I've said it already. I don't want to hear no excuses afterwards. Should he get beat up by JOYCE? I don't want to hear no excuses afterwards. I don't want to hear no excuses. It was the camp. It was this. It was that. Listen, the writing's been on the wall for a long time, Alexander Usyk. Just like the writing's been on the wall for Joseph Parker. Just like the writing's on the wall for Joshua Buatsi. Just like the writing was on the wall for Josh Kelly. The signs are there. The signs are there. And that's why you get great matchmakers and great managers that say, you know what? We need to pull the plug on this fight, or we need to hold this guy back. Well, no, that doesn't happen in boxing, particularly British boxing. That don't happen. Guys, you could see the red flags. This guy isn't ready. And you squeak past an opponent. And then people say, yeah, when are you going to get a world title shot? When is he going to fight a world-class opponent? The guy's not ready. But he's still pushing the guy forward. Another guy, Conor Benn. He's another one. Oh, my word. Why are we doing this? We are ruining. The sport of boxing has been ruined because potential guys who could become genuine pay-per-view fighters, genuine world-class fighters, are getting smashed to bits because promoters are greedy. Matchmakers today haven't got a clue what they're doing. Having said that, PBC seem to have some decent matchmakers. I'll give them that. They got some damn good matchmaking. Damn good matchmaking. That card that had the Charlo brothers on it, when they had that pay-per-view, the two Charlos on it, that was some great matchmaking because they both looked in tough fights and they both came through pretty good. Did good. They look good tonight. Do I think the writing's on the wall for Lawrence Okoli? I think when you look at Lawrence Okoli and you go back to the fight he fought for the European Championship, right there, go back and look at that fight. That guy hurt Lawrence Okoli, and that was at Europe. And I didn't even know that guy's name. I didn't even know the guy's name. And Lawrence Okoli, again, I don't want to be smashing guys and sound like a hater here. I love my sport. I just hate to see guys being put in positions they don't need to be in. When I look at Lawrence Okoli, he reminds me of Henry Akinwande Part 2. The same thing, seeing rabbit in the headlights sort of thing. As soon as a punch is coming his way, he's terrified. And if Glowacki is able to get past those long arms and get inside and land a haymaker, he could fall like Henry Akinwande. He's got, the thing about Okoli, he's got an awkward style. The long arms and stuff. But if Glowacki can work that out and step inside that jab and crack that left hand, there's nothing much coming back after that. Once you get past the long arms of Okoli, and and we saw it. We saw it when he fighting for the European Championship. Go back and look at that fight. What's the key? What's the key to beat Usyk in your opinion? You go back to your amateur days and you look at Usyk, and I believe to beat Usyk, you go to the body, you break the body down, you work the body, and you get inside. You've got to work Usyk's body, force him to fight, and push him back, and don't allow him out. Don't allow him to move from left to right. You know, you step across him. Don't go straight at him. Step across him. So when he tries to get out the corner, you left hook and the right hand. You've got to step across him. Do not come straight at Usyk. You've got to go that way towards Usyk and work the body. Get inside, work his body. A guy like Usyk, you can't allow a guy like that to get rhythm. You got to disrupt. You got to disrupt the plan, disrupt the game plan, disrupt the rhythm. Step on him and impose your will upon him from bell one. Work the body and just keep doing it over and over and over again repeatedly. Work the body, work the body, work the body. Bring the hands down, slow the feet up. And as the feet start to tire, the hands start to come down. And there we have a fight right there. And I believe that's what Joyce has got to do. Hit that boy everywhere. Work him with his arms, hit him with hair, hit him with his rib cage, hit him everywhere. I don't care if you're behind them points. I'm telling you, listen, first 6 rounds, forget about being on points. Go out there and just put it on this boy. Put it on him. And in the last 6, we've seen the Chisora fight. Usyk's stamina's not as good as people put it out to be. And in the last 6, as you see with Joyce, if you tire against Joyce, that's when he comes into his own. And the second half of the fight is where I think Joyce steps on the gas and closes Usyk down to a point and finishes him off. That's what I think. So people say Usyk is quick. Usyk can only be quick for as long as Joyce allows him to. If Joyce comes out in the first round and follows Usyk around like a mummy, then he deserves to get his ass beat and get knocked out. But if he actually closes Usyk down, stabs his authority, I'm the bigger man, I'm the stronger man, and physically impose himself. Like Lennox Lewis, a good fight for you guys to watch. Lennox Lewis when he fought Zelko Mavrovic. Lennox went in that fight against, he's physically the bigger man, the stronger man, the better jab. And Mavrovic was a busy guy, very busy guy. Lots of good stamina, threw a lot of punches, busy, good chin. Wanted to have a fight. Zelko Mavrovic, a guy who was very underrated in the heavyweight division. Lennox said, right, I'm a bigger man, I'm a stronger man, I'm going to jump on you and I'm going to let you know I'm the heavyweight in there. Another fight Lennox did that was against Glenn McCrory. Again, McCrory, cruiserweight, moved up to heavyweight, and McCrory told me himself that he put actually stones in his pocket to make that heavyweight division, to make him seem bigger than he actually was. And Lennox said, you know what? And his team went and said, jump on McCrory, don't give him a chance. And Lennox was all over him like a bad rash. And that is the strategy Joyce has to employ against Usyk. He can't step back like he did against Dubois and try and jab and jab. Forget that nonsense. He'll lose. I agree. And those things are all Joyce is what is great at doing that. So I say it's a bad matchup for Usyk. Bad matchup. Sort of like what Tifimo did to Lomo. Just keep touching him everywhere. Yes. 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 Disrupt the rhythm. These guys, these Eastern European guys, their kryptonite is at the inside fighter. You know, them old school American fighters, they may have had 10, 12 losses on their record, but they're the kind of guys that would get inside and rough it up and really take you to school. Doghouse. Those guys don't like doghouse. I don't care what you say. There's not one Eastern European fighter I know that loves doghouse boxing. None of them do. They don't like it. They don't like in-house fighting. They like to keep it long and pretty and all that sort of slick movement. But they don't like it when it gets rough and tough on them. None of them like it. And that's how you beat them. Get inside and rip them to bits. Will Joyce start fast enough is the question. Well, it's not a matter of if he starts fast. Starting fast isn't the thing. Ending fast is it? So he may not start as fast as we would like, because remember, Usyk comes in significantly faster than Joyce. But let's say if by round 4 and 5, there's not a slow up. I mean, let's look at the Chisora fight, for example. Did Usyk look to you? Did Usyk look to you like a man that was running away with a fight? Did Usyk look to you like a man that was in total control? He didn't. And that was against Derek Chisora. 9 loss, 10 loss, Derek Chisora. You've got to see things as they are. Keep a constant jab on Usyk to make Usyk believe no matter how much he moves and dances, he simply can't get away with him. Yeah, discourage him. You've got to discourage him. You've got to get up in his grill. Up in his grill. Ward v Kovalev too. Yeah, but that was the thing. Even when Kovalev was unbeaten, I was a massive fan of Sergey Kovalev. And I said, the way you beat Kovalev is get on the inside. You get on the inside. It's early Christmas for Andre Ward. Get inside these guys. The art of inside fighting has been lost. And once these guys get inside, it's over. It's a wrap. I never understood the whole sparring 2 people at the same time. Mike Scott used to do that. And look where that ended up. I mean, you know, when there's... If Andre Ward did that, with the 2 guys, and he dare go, okay, I'd be interested. If Lennox Loser did that, I'd go, oh, it's the secret to your success. Okay, I like that. If Muhammad Ali did that, I'd go, all right, okay, I look at that. But I look at results, performances, and current form. And I look at Alexander Usyk. It don't add up. It doesn't match up. Yeah. I love the way Tim Brady broke it down with those East European guys. You press them. Don't fall for all the fancy angles. That's it. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Spend looking and going out there doing this and trying to box them. Nah. That stuff goes out the window. Forget that. That goes out the window. There was a guy that fought Brandon... won on the weekend, and Charlo beat him, and he just went and knocked out East European guy with a left hook. Same sort of style. And I said this guy was going to be a world champion. This guy, Brandon Adams, I think his name is. I think it might be Brandon Adams. And that boy was just inside, loved that inside style. Get inside, work Eastern European, and boom, left hook over the top. Nice knockout, beautiful. I thought, that's inside fighting for you. I don't know what all this mystique about this like outside range fighting, right? That's good. If you can fight from the outside and the inside, then you got it. When you can only fight on the outside, when a guy gets inside you, start to panic. I mean, the art of boxing is hit and not get hit. So surely you want to make sure that you've got all angles covered. That on the outside I'm good, and on the inside I'm good. Or if I'm not good on the inside, I'll tie up. Learn to tie up inside. Ali was a different type of animal. None of today's heavyweight cruisers could have had Ali's heart. Yep. But Brandon Adams, yeah. But Ali, when we talk about Ali didn't throw body shots. You know, Ali kept things. Ali stayed in his arc. He stayed in his arc. And his arc was a damn good one. But he stayed in his arc. And he fought to his strengths. Do you understand? I mean, when he fought Foreman, he was on the ropes. He took a lot of shots on the ropes. Well, Ali could have tucked up and tied up. But instead, he decided to stay there and let Foreman beat him on the ropes. And then talk to George on the inside. Yeah, Tifo kicked turning Loma when he went for the angles and ripped to the body. Great show, mate. Thank you. Listen, it's another thing I want to talk about. Tifimo Lopez. I like this guy. I like his mindset of promotion. I like the way he's always out there. He's always putting his face out there. Beautiful. But I hope and I pray that he's not a flash in the pan. I hope and pray that with all the promotion he's doing and all the talk he's talking, that when it gets back to being in the ring, he can continue to deliver on the performance against other opposition. Because I have to be honest, down the stretch against Lomachenko, when Lomachenko actually started putting it on Lopez going down the stretch, he seemed lost of ideas. And that's a smaller guy, Lomachenko. I'd like to see a bigger guy put that sort of pressure on Lopez to see how he responds to it. So I like Lopez. I like what he brings to boxing. It's been refreshing, and it's great to see him as a champion. But I'd like to see a few more performances against guys who are going to put that pressure on him late on to see how he responds to that. If it's just me and my eyes, or there's something else to that. Yeah, I've seen a long time ago as well. The guys that did it at the end of a workout session against younger amateur guys for a round. So I prefer a regular sparring period. But hey, listen, when you're talking about that in sparring sessions, look, but there's something that when I used to spar, what the trainer used to do is when you were tired, because I boxed at welterweight, when you were tired, then he would bring in the heavyweight and he'd make the heavyweight chase you around the ring. The thing you had to your advantage was the heavyweight was slower than you. The thing you had to your disadvantage is if that heavyweight connected, it was just a jab. It just pushed you across the other side of the ring. So you just had to keep moving and moving. And that fear that was put in you because you didn't want to get hit with a heavyweight was what made you move your feet in the later rounds in sparring. And it worked well. That is more effective for you than you having two guys in a ring sparring with you. It's different. And you take it more serious as well because you train. Like I coach, you train the way you're going to fight. And you're not going to fight against two guys. If you're seeing two guys, you're in trouble. If you're in the ring and you're seeing two guys, you're in trouble. Either you've been hit in the back of the head or you're concussed. You get what I'm saying? So I would keep away from that stuff, personally. Brandon Adams won the recent contenders. Brandon Adams is a bad man. He's a bad fighter. He might have got beat, but he's a bad fighter. He's a wicked fighter. He's a guy that should get more credit. It seems when you get a loss in boxing, people seem to forget about you. Brandon Adams is a guy to watch. Bad man. Love his style. Brandon Adams kicking butt on the Contender Series. Underrated fighter, in my opinion. Oh, absolutely underrated. Absolutely. 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 God damn, he's a good fighter. He's a damn good fighter. Yeah, I was listening to something the other day while I'm on it. Let me finish this off. I was listening to something the other day. Charlo talking about fighting Benavidez, but Benavidez had to take a vaccine. Did I hear that correctly, or am I going crazy? He said he wanted a catchweight fight, and Benavidez must be a certain age, and he won't fight anyone under 25, and the vaccine. How did you get beat by Charlie? Was it a good scrap? I can't remember, to be honest. I can't remember the fight, to be honest. I agree with Ingram. I like the rotation of fresh guys type in sparring. It's the best, bro. It's the best. It's the best. If you want to learn about yourself and how fast your feet can move with fear, get knackered and then get a guy in there that you know could put real pain on you. Then you'll know about it. You know, I would have respected him more if he was sparring against guys that actually could hurt him. That would have been more interesting. But the fact, what made it even worse is when he went and did that. I mean, for what are you doing? Nope, you heard it correctly. It's laughable, honestly. I believe in bringing in all types of stars into camp, no matter the style you're facing on Fight Night. Oh, yeah, absolutely. 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 I mean, it's key. I think it's so important. So important. So important. I'm going to say it again. Joshua BWTM needs a new trainer. And I can see what they're going to try and do with Conor Benn. They're going to try and fast track that boy as well. Not good. It's not going to end well for Conor Benn, I'm telling you. It's not going to end well. Not going to end well. And I just want to throw this out to you people, just for a second. Just had this thought before I finish. So they're rumored to say that Joshua and Tyson Fury are going to fight in June. If that's the case, then what happens if Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson fight for the 3rd time in June. Which fight makes more money? You would think Fury versus Joshua would make more money. Which one has more interest? Fury, Joshua, Tyson, Holyfield. 3. And could the 2 shows happen in June? I mean, I've heard before that they don't want to compete with this and compete with that. What do you all think about that? How do you feel about it? I'd love to know what your thoughts are on that. A Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield 3 fight. By the way, Mr. Boxing Today, how you been? It's good to see you, my friend. It's good to see you. Really good to see you in the room. I always feel like boxing royalty is in the room when you come in the room. I really do appreciate you in the room. Shout out to Vox to Volume on Max and Andre. Shout out to you guys as well. Usyk can box and move, but we'll be able to keep Joyce off him. No. He couldn't keep Chisora off him. He couldn't keep Chisora off him. He couldn't keep Belly off him. How is he going to keep Joyce off him? I don't see it. I just don't see it. In the States, I know Holyfield Tyson will be first priority. What about the UK? Well, you know the UK. It's Fury. It's Joshua. It's the heavyweight championship of the world. You know, if I were them, I'd shift that fight to July. I'd shift it out to July. Outdoor arena, amazing. Imagine that fight in Las Vegas, outdoor arena, or even Dubai, outdoor arena. That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. Hello, England. Great to know the boss is back online. Yeah, baby. Oh, I thought I'd do a live show. Why not? I haven't done one for a while, and Usyk's nonsense sparring two guys, 2 half-fed guys, I thought was. I couldn't sleep well. I kept getting the image in my head, and I thought, no, I've got to get out of my bed and I've got to do a video on it because it's absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous, I say. And so with Usyk not carrying his power up in weight, this is really dangerous. You could ultimately get hurt or suffer catastrophic KO. That is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. He could. And that is not out the real realms of possibilities. They keep talking about the Usyk-Joyce fight. They need to stop that nonsense. I don't believe Usyk can do that for 12 rounds. I really don't. Without getting touched by Joe Joyce. Stop it. Stop it. Guys, I want to see fight again and soon. I want to see Chris Eubank Jr. fighting again. As for Canelo and Saunders, I don't know. When did Billy Joe Saunders become a great fighter? When did he become a great fighter? He's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. When did he become great? Who did he fight to become great? How many Hall of Fame fighters has Billy Joe Saunders fought? When did Bill Saunders become a great fighter? He's a good fighter. He's a talented fighter. But a great fighter? When did he become great? What did he do to become great? I'm sorry. Who'd you favour? Callum Johnson, man. Callum Johnson by brutal KO. Boaz is getting hit too often. He gets hit too often. And you're talking about a guy that floored Beterbiev. A guy that floored Beterbiev. A guy who was not fit enough and should have had more rounds in him. He backed Beterbiev and he dropped Beterbiev. And he himself got dropped by Beterbiev. Boaz can't beat Callum Johnson. And Yard better stay well away from Johnson as well. If Johnson can get himself 3 good fights, get himself in some shape, get some form, get some fights, get some rounds under his belt, Johnson is a world-class puncher at light heavyweight. He can punch with either hand, and he can box a bit as well. I think he needs some. He's one of those guys that if I were a boxing manager, I would take Callum Johnson, and I would manage Callum Johnson, because I think genuinely, when you look at Boatsy, you look at Yard, and you look at Johnson, out of the 3 of them, the world-class puncher is Johnson. Why? Because he's actually fought world-class, and he's dropped world-class. Yard fought a Kovalev, couldn't really drop him, couldn't drop him. And then Boatsy, he's struggling at the moment. Look at his face when he's fighting guys at mediocre level. And then non-punchers. Could you imagine if he's getting touched like that by Callum Johnson? Come on, man. And Joe Joyce, although not superbly gifted technical fighter, in some lumbering Provodnikov style, he will cut the ring off, shut up shots and counter. Joe Joyce is a better fighter than people give him credit for. They really do. They really do. The little things that Joyce does when he gets hit with shots, he's able to turn his head. Things like that. Really, really small things that Joyce does that people are not seeing. He's a damn good fighter, and he's got a good trainer in his corner. Billy Jones was like a shooting star. He lit up the sky for a time, was brilliant, but then burnt out. About right. Has Yard moved on from Tunde? Don't know, but if he moves... Somebody said to me the other day on my video, I should mind my own business, and 88 views. They have to go back and check that video again, but that's the reason why my video's got 88 views, for me telling the truth. For me telling the truth. If Yard goes to Matchroom, we know what's going to happen. He'll get fast-tracked in a fight, probably against Boatsy. He'll get fast-tracked to a Boatsy fight, and they'll use him and abuse him. Like all the fighters, use and abuse. They don't know how to look after their fighters. And if somebody can come on here and tell me they know how to use it, you know, when you look at, I'm just talking truth. They're probably been the #1 reason why so many fighters are getting knocked out and beaten up that are good prospective fighters. And they are the reason why Joshua and Wilder didn't happen. I don't care what anybody tells me. I blame them for their nonsense. People think the Charlas are a match for Canelo. I'm not convinced. Tony Housen showed that the Charlas can be outboxed, are mentally fragile, and can be scrambled in a fight. You're talking about the little Charlo. You're talking about Charlo light middleweight. No. If you look at Charlo, the middleweight, if you look at his resume and the way he was going through the middleweight division, knocking out guys who were genuinely good fighters, knocking them out, that's crap, man. That's crap. The middleweight Charlo is a good strong. He takes a good shot. He has got dynamite in his fists. It's a good fight for Canelo. I don't believe that at all. I believe though that Charlo needs to fight. For me, I'd like to see Charlo fight Golovkin first. I'd like to see him fight Golovkin, get past that Golovkin challenge, and then fight Canelo. Can I get your quick thoughts on Jerry Foster versus Zhang? I didn't see the fight. I heard the fight went to a draw or something like that. I will go back and look at the fight and then bring you a video up on it, mate, for sure. Does anyone know if Sorenko beat Sokolowski yesterday? Oh, wow. Did Vlad fight yesterday? Didn't you know he fought yesterday? I can find out. Thank you very much. I'll check that out for you as well. I expect him to beat Kamil Sokolowski, but I'll check that out. That's a step-up fight for Vlad, though. Joyce is basically sound, but that's what makes him a problem for guys to look to, like, have pizzazz, but are not basically sound. This guy was a gold medalist, more or less a gold medalist. I'm not being basically sound. I'm not being basically sound about having pizzazz. Is what got Josh Kelly's cheeks slapped. Fighters leave footprints. Fighters leave footprints in the sand before they get beat. Josh Kelly gave us the Ray Robinson fight. He should have got beat in the Ray Robinson fight. And if you got beat on the Ray Robinson fight, people say, okay, you got beat by the better fight. Go back and work out. No. We gave him a decision he didn't deserve, which was draw. He didn't deserve that draw. And then they stepped him up even further. He wasn't good enough. He wasn't ready. He wasn't good enough. He wasn't good enough. Just wasn't good enough. That's it. He wasn't good enough for that next step-up fight. I mean, it's like, it seems in boxing that it's like you want to take a you want to get a PhD, and you ain't even graduated from high school, and you want to go and take a PhD. Really? No need. Why do it? It's damaging to the fighters. It's damaging to the fight game, and more importantly, where's your next pay-per-view star? That's what I want to know. Where's your next pay-per-view star? Honestly, I agree. I don't think Boxy has the heart to beat a Callum Johnson. Oh, no. Hell no. Who are some promising prospects, UK, US, the world, in your opinion, currently, Ingram? 3 guys I like. I think Joe Cordina's quite decent. Boots Ennis, but I've always told you about Boots Ennis. There was a young man I saw the other day who was on YouTube, and there was a video. I think he's lost about 1 or 2 fights. Mr. Boxing Today, please check him out. An amateur fighter from the UK, and you see he's got a lot of knockout reels. He's lost a couple of fights, but they say they call him like the next Mike Tyson. I hate when they do that, but I mean, if you look at his knockout reel, look really good as an amateur. You know what? I don't watch as much boxing as I really should these days. I want to know what's going on with Rashidi Ellis's career, because he was #1 welterweight as an amateur in the USA. And I'm not saying nothing of Rashidi Ellis. So I want to know what's going on with him. I want to know what's going on. I really want to know what's going on with him. Golovkin would be a good test for Charlo. Devonchenko gave GGG that liver shot, and Golovkin became Carlos. Yeah, he was up. But I said Devonchenko. I said that Charlo would beat Devonchenko pretty easy. And yeah, I didn't rate Devonchenko. People rate Devonchenko based on GGG, but it depends how high you rate GGG. And I don't rate him that highly. I think he was overrated from the start. I think that Abel Sanchez was the reason behind that. Abel Sanchez's stories and his gassing of GGG. I've got a video out there which is called GGG versus the World, and Abel Sanchez is sitting. We sit down for about an hour and a half with Abel Sanchez. We go through the world's leading middleweights, past and present, and super middleweights. GGG versus Ward, GGG against Nigel Benn, GGG against Chris Schubert, GGG against Thomas Hearns, GGG against Hagler. Yeah, I think I did GGG against Carlos Monza maybe as well. I think. Did I do Carl? I can't remember. I did quite a few of them though. Ward would have beaten the crap out of GGG. Absolute beating the crap out of him. Eastern European style. They'd have beaten the crap out of him. GGG versus Julian Jackson. I'd love to see that fight, just to see what would have happened. Do you imagine GGG against Jerome McLennan? The G-Man. GGG against Nigel Benn. Man. Okay, right. Let me end the show. I've got to go now. Thank you so much for watching. I'm out. Have a really good night.